know what time it is. It's time for stream. It's a Friday stream, so I get to do whatever I want. I'm playing Ace Attorney tonight, and I'm super excited because I love Ace Attorney, and I have been dying to hop back in since I think last time we finished the third case, which means we are making our way downtown, walking fast, faces past, and we're homebound. Yikes, that's kind of crazy, but also a little exciting. So, I hope everybody's having a good Friday. I am so ready for the weekend. It's not like work has been bad or anything, and I hopefully work won't be bad next week, but you never know. But yeah, I just hope everyone's having a good day, good night, whatever time it is. I'm repping my Chainsaw Man Power sweatshirt. I'm feeling very orange today. I even did orange makeup. So I wish I could have changed my headset, but my Razer Synapse is just doing whatever the hell it feels like doing. But whatever. Definitely was like, I gotta wear some orange today. I even have an orange straw for my drink, which I might take out anyway, but got some sparkling water to help hydrate me for when I do these terrible accents that might kill me. Who knows? Definitely embarrass me. But yeah, so I guess I'm gonna go ahead and throw the warnings up for Ace Attorney. Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Once again, if you ever need the warnings, trigger and content warnings, oh, there's a little star. I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna use my little jump command and make my little avatar jump. Look at her go. Wait, can I catch it? Let's see if I can. Oh, I caught it! Yay! Okay. Haha! Woo! That's a fun little thing you can do. So if you see a star floating around, just type jump in the chat and you can make your little character jump. I like these little stream avatars. I'm trying them out. So you guys gotta let me know how much you like them or not. Anyway, but if you ever need the trigger and content warnings, just type warning in the chat and that will link you to doesthedogdie.com where the article, I always say article, it's not an article, it's a webpage. The webpage will tell you all of the trigger and content spoilers if you need them. I'm also going to throw them up on screen in just a second. Where is it? That's not it. There it is, right here. So here they are. These are the content warnings. So just things to be aware of. Blood and gore. It's a murder mystery game, so you know how it goes. There's gun violence. There is some animal death. Death and suicide. Again, it's a murder mystery game. We are solving murders and deaths, mysterious circumstances and whatnot. Alcohol and substance abuse. There is a prosecutor that very much loves to partake in some wine during the proceedings. So, I wouldn't call that abuse, but there's definitely use of alcohol in there. Domestic violence, probably some relatives are fighting and whatnot. Just be aware of that. Self-harm. I think we passed the snakes part, but there might be some more snakes. I don't know. Anxiety attacks, hospitals, bone breaking, hanging, suffocation, burial alive. I need to change this. It's anti-Semitism, but it's like it's xenophobia, really. There's a lot of weird moments in this game that get a little xenophobic or racist. I don't know. I guess it was a different time in the game, but yeah, it's a little weird. Also fat jokes, if that's something that kind of really eats at you, I totally understand. They eat at me too. So just be aware. And then because it's an Ace Attorney game, the UI, flashing lights, shaky cam, some claustrophobic scenes might be in there. So Midna, oh my goodness, she is crawling all over my desk. Here, you guys can see her if I turn my camera back on. Midna, you want to say hi to everybody? You want to say happy Friday to everyone? Oh, look at this cuddly little girl. She says hi, everybody. Oh, look. Oh, so sleepy. She was sleeping on my bed. Usually when I go lay down for a second, she'll come in there and get on top of me because she's like, oh, it's nap time, Mom. We're going to have a nap. And I'm like, no, we're not going to have a nap. You need to get off of me. But after, I guess, when I left, she just circled up and she was like, well, this bed is mine now, even though she has her own bed. Don't you? You're so cuddly. All right. I'm going to let you go. Oh, go get you some food. Go get you some nummies. Alrighty, let's get on over to the game. That's what we're gonna do. Alrighty. Yes, we're playing some Ace Attorney. I have to scratch my ear. There's a little itch in my ear. Sorry, y'all. Alrighty. I'm gonna make my screen just a bit larger if possible. Yeah, really maximize that space there. Boom. Okie dokie. We are going to continue our adventure. Yes. The adventure of the Clouded Kokoro. This is the next case. We're on case 4. Oh boy. Oh, the adventure of the Clouded Kokoro.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmies, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed.
Okay.
Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover.
Ooh.
His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening.
Oh no.
To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Oh gosh, we're back in this guy's office. It's been a minute since I've done his voice. Okay, the British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office.
Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo?
No, not at all.
It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious. I felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night.
What about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Burya, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. That's true, he was in the closet, sort of. Well, the wardrobe. I spent the entire night rolling from one side to the mattress to the other.
Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except, when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare.
Oops, sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking.
In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year.
Oh, she's so sad!
I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill.
Girl, same. Ugh, I really am sorry.
Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodgings straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less.
Ugh, London is a scary place. I'm assuming this is the guy. I'm gonna just... good morning to you at this early hour. I'll just give him like a haughty British accent. Oh, yes, well...
Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday.
Suzuto-san is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Oh yes, it was very eye-opening. Thank you.
And in accordance with your...
Almost lost my breath there.
And in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end.
Yes, I've already been apprised of the events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh! No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land. I almost said island, which I guess wouldn't be wrong, but he just says land, and so I tripped there a little bit. Thank you very much. So I'm a lawyer now. Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case already? Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I? It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it. Yeah, we might have totally, undeniably let a murderer walk free because we bought into his bullshit, so it's not looking too great for us. What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for? Oh god, he's gonna make me do the fucking voice again.
The culpability of the defendant has not at the present time been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment.
Well, Lord Van Zeeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. Oh, I hate his face. Oh no, why is my... Oh, I thought my... Look at him! Look at that smarmy bastard. Oh, he's so evil. Look at him. Look at that evil laugh. I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent. Sorry, I was opening my drink, so I couldn't press the button.
Mr. Naruhodo!
It's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended. Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer. Sorry.
What do you need, Lord Strongheart?
What? Pardon me? Excuse me? Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial. Oh shit, he died! Okay.
No!
What? Mr. McGilded is dead? I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. Excuse me? How did he die? I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. Oh my god, wait a minute. Oh my god, that cutscene that we saw. He's the one who died? Oh my god, somebody totally fucking murdered him. I feel like it's that moment. What's that, it's that, now I ain't saying she deserved it, but God's timing is always right. God's timing is always right. Oh my god. Anyway, yes, of course, that was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGilded had been accused of. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames. No.
How could such a thing have happened?
That is being investigated as we speak, but already the police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of McGilded. That's awful! The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. The bailiff really needs to pay more attention.
And how could that have happened?
That is also being investigated as we speak.
Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilded did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus.
Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection. Sorry, what inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. An inspection of the omnibus. Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. But then who was Mr. McGilded talking about? Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. That seems sus. That seems pretty sus.
Poor Mr. McGilded.
So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was... wow.
Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity.
Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce stuff.
The whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old.
Wow, Susato-san has such a way with words.
And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones.
Oh my god, did she hear me? The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. The most advanced in the world, is it? It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair.
Simple? That was simple?
As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose.
I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple.
The circumstances of the case were so incriminating, I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Is something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to the exceptional talent. Wouldn't you agree? Well, I don't know about that. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much, at least, is an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I've prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he going to say before? I keep hitting Midna's bed, and I'm like worried that she's in it. She's not in it. My ankle just keeps bumping it.
Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned?
Don't tell me. It's a murder, and the trial starts in 10 minutes. Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. I heard ankle. Oh my gosh. Hello, Gabe. Yes, my ankle keeps hitting Midna's bed. In fact, this case is completely different. Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind? That is to say, no one has died. As yet. And the trial will not be today. There's plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds. The bed has been blessed. Oh my gosh, Gabe, what are you talking about?
Is everything all right?
Oh, thank you. I am doing well. I hope you're doing well as well. I'm an idiot. Oh yes, I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was, well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo.
I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilded's trial. Oh, yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for defense. But could be better. Oh, thank you. I will hydrate. I only have this sparkling water instead of normal water, so I'm hydrating with that. Everybody hydrate. It always makes you feel better. It's good to hydrate. Oh. If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome.
The most terrible end awaits the defendant.
Yes, that's right. Ugh, here we go again. Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There's now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until court sits. Last time he mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time. And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you. Oh, what's that? Yesterday you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asuri. I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds. Oh, well, Cosmo always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world works so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work toward that myself. And there's another thing. Oh! Another thing. Continue. On the way here, on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important that I have to do. Something very important. What exactly would that be? He never had the chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he'd ever made it to great... You're out of time. Well, thank you for enlightening discussion.
Mr. Naruhodo, what's this all about? Mr. Asogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me.
I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to apprise you of the details. How long has he been there? So, I wish you the best of luck and bid you farewell. Alrighty. I'm gonna adjust my chair.
There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what did you mean?
I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we'd better talk to the detective, don't you think?
Yes, you're right.
I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. What is he holding? Those fries? Or chips? I'm sorry. Can I... Oh, I can only examine. Is that just fish and chips in like a newspaper? Could we trouble you? I don't know what accent to give this. I think I'm gonna give him a Brooklyn accent just because I want to. What do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do? That's still British. That's still British. Hold on. Literally iconic just for that. Oh my gosh. Hey, I'm the detective. What's the weather got to do with anything? Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get every English gent eaten out of your hand, you know. But Susanna-san told me it was foolproof. I'm a busy man, a very busy man. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having the likes of you talking to. Oh, I'm ever so sorry. Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying? Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. And all because of some bumpkin who's here on a jaunt from a country I've never even heard of. Hear that ripping sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters. There's no need to rip us apart as well. Why is he's like spawning fish out of, he is spawning fish and chips out of this newspaper cone. It's making me want some fish and chips with some malt vinegar. Ugh. I do love me some good pub food, like actual pub food. Do love that.
I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it?
Oh God. It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Unbelievable! How did she pull that off? So, Lord Strongheart has asked me to fill you in on the case. The name's Tobias Gregson, Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard. And I totally sound like I'm from Scotland Yard, don't I? With my weird New York accent. I'm totally from Scotland Yard.
Gregson? Inspector Gregson?
Oh my God, I bet he knows Sholmes and I bet he's been talked about in the Sholmes stories, and so she's about to fangirl. I'm so glad you like it, Gabe, because it's what it is now. Does this detective's name mean something to her?
Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson?
I can't, he's eating his fish and chips like it's a goddamn ice cream cone. You're acting like you know this man, Miss Usato, but he's a London detective.
Oh, I do know him very well, in fact.
Very well?
Yes, he features prominently in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes.
Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Ranced Magazine?
That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful friendly rivalry.
Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes. That's incredible. Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like himself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time.
Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words.
I think that's still an insult, though. That's his highest praise.
Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see.
That he is not, and thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now. That's great, isn't it? I have to admit that, to start with, I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, and my reputation at the yard went through the roof. Well, that's wonderful. No, it is not! There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure. Rumors? With a U, so it's fancy rumors.
Are you quite sure?
He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame's gone to his head, stuff like that.
Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you?
Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying, but I know what folk are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. As sure as eggs is eggs. As eggs is eggs? I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work.
Oh dear, perhaps a sudden rise to fame does change people.
Let's get back to business here. So, about the case that excuse me, that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before. Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned at the yard, it couldn't be simpler.
Oh dear, that probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated.
I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right. A young woman was walking along the pavement on Briar Row when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in hospital unconscious.
That's despicable! What sort of a coward would attack the poor woman from behind?
I suppose you would have finished whoever it was off with the Susato takedown, would you?
That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo.
So that's a yes. Brace yourself for Yonosuke, you've angered her now. Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest. So there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit.
Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question?
Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one. Sorry? There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now. Why ever not? Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Baron Van Zieks. I thought it was Von Zieks. Van Zieks? It's Van Zieks, not Von Zieks. I really thought it was an O. Am I tripping? I might be tripping. Sounds like you heard of them then.
Oh yes, we're very familiar with Lord Van Zieks.
I guess it is Van. Wow. I guess I semi-Mandela affected myself.
Believed to be the harbinger of death itself.
The Reaper of the Bailey. Which is, that is such a metal ass name. Can we talk about that for a second? Reaper of the Bailey. That's like a fucking, that's like a band name. A metal band name. What up, Chicago? We are Reaper of the Bailey. Let's fucking rock. Am I wrong? Are you gonna look at me and tell me that I'm wrong? Lord Baron Van Zieks, who we faced in court only yesterday.
Mr. McGilded told us about him before the trial, didn't he?
Oh my god, why do I have to keep doing it? Okay, thank god. When Van Zieks stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And in every single trial in which he's the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. This Reaper of the Bailey nickname, I suppose he's earned that because every I just love it. It's such a that's another one of those little differences between American English and English. Earned. ED, earned. He's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty. Is that it?
Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zieks, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty.
And what of it?
I think that means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant.
No, you really don't have a clue, do you? What do you mean? Did he just put that in his pocket? He's just put fish in his pocket. What happened to that bloke in the end, eh? He's dead. Magnus McGilded came a cropper in that oh my god. Came a cropper in that omnibus when it went up in flames. So you can't rightly say you saved the defendant, can you? What are you saying? Look, if Van Zieks could get the dirt to stick to us. Words! Look, if Van Zieks could get the dirt to stick on everyone, he'd be a... My face is trying to figure out how I need to shape my mouth to make the accent, and it's not working. He'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles. He works magic. Black magic. I'd have a good long think about that if I were you. Are we really supposed to believe that? Well, that still didn't give me all that much information about the case. Right, well, I filled you in as requested and I'm very nearly out of chips. So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out a few investigations there.
It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place?
That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cell, you can meet the criminal himself. You've branded him a criminal already? He's as good as... He's as good as... Shaking like a leaf in his cell he is. It'll give you a chuckle if nothing else. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you the way. It's like my Joy-Con stopped connecting for a second. Inmate 53. Thank you. Good day, sir. Tip your hat. So there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say.
Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo? To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking.
Aw.
The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage, too.
But if the man they've arrested is innocent, you could well imagine he would be shaken like a leaf in his cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny.
So,
If I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try, so I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help?
did you really think you had to ask? After all, I am your judicial assistant.
Thank you. So then, shall we?
Yes. Let's go.
Yay! Alright, we're on the move. To Briar Road or the prison? Let's go to the prison first. I want to see who I need to be voicing pretty soon. So these are the British... Jesus Christ, they do look like dungeons. So these are British prison cells.
Oh, they're ghastly. Feels just like a dungeon.
See? I literally just said that, did I not? Yes, and having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls.
Oh, don't, Mr. Naruhodo. You're making it seem worse.
Oh, look at her little sad face. It's so cute and so sad. I just want to hug her and be like, it's okay.
Pat, it's okay.
Apparently our client is in this cell here. But it's so dark at the back there, I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like. Oh boy. Let's see whose voice I'm doing next.
Inmate 53, your legal representative is here to see you. Stop hiding in the back of the cell and show your face at once.
Am I a cat? As yet with no name? What? Calling me by a number, it's utterly, unbelievably, unjustly, unreasonable. I refuse to answer. I need to see this person before I give them a voice. Oh my fucking god. Wait a minute.
Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think is going on here?
I have no idea, but I wasn't just hearing things, was I? I swear to God. I swear to God. I swear to God. If Herlock Sholmes shows his fucking face, that tirade of complaints was was in Japanese. Oh my god. Is it Hosonaga? Has he made another am I gonna have to do his voice again? Oh. Okay. Okay then. This is a new person. He looks like Edgar Allan Poe. Am I tripping? Like, oh god. I don't know what voice I should give him. I gotta get a little creative here. I'm at a loss.
Shh! Quiet!
He looks a little paranoid.
They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening, even now. I can sense it.
Right. So, can I ask you who...
There you are! You've come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it. You're a ghost.
A ghost? Oh, the little mustache adjustment. Oh, his eyes all twitchy. Oh god, this poor girl. We mean you no harm, prisoner-san. We mean you no harm, prisoner-san. Are you...
Japanese by any chance? This is beyond my wildest dreams!
Them eyebrows, though. He looks like Edgar Allan Poe.
Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's fine. We're just a little surprised, that's all. My butt is like...
Imagine it! It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am, in a frightful fix in a foreign land.
Oh my god, he's so dramatic. Look at his eyes! They're so anime!
So hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this dumb, dark hellhole was a most monumentally moving moment!
Who could have guessed that this new client Lord Strongheart assigned us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese?
What compassion my fellow countrymen show! To dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student! Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nippon!
This voice is probably gonna hurt me, but I'm still gonna do it because I think it fits him just so well. Oh, sorry, a first-class lawyer? Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here.
I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example? Yes, I can! I will! Shout, stay sullen and silent!
Is he JoJo posing? Like, what is happening here?
I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy.
Yes, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I am a lawyer, as you said. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
And I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susato Mikatoba. I am a visiting student sent here by our government. Notably, notoriously named Natsume, Sosuke Natsume.
Or Soseki. Would it be Soseki? Sosuke? I think Sosuke. Is that... No, because that's Suki, not Seki. Soseki. 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 I need to work on my pronunciation. Soseki. Soseki Natsume-san. What an unusual name.
Call me Soseki, please. I'm a poet, you see. A writer of haiku.
He's a poet and he fucking looks like Edgar Allan Poe.
It's something of a nom de plume.
A nom de plume? You mean an alias?
That's right, Naruhodo-san. No! Don't be so prosaic. It's much more refined than that.
And haiku, that really reminds me of home.
Did I hear you say you were a visiting student sent over here by the government? Yes, that's right. A year ago, I was told to go and study English. First, I had to suffer that misery, and now this. It's beyond the pale.
Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here?
No, I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course.
Oh.
But just because the government tells you to do something doesn't mean you can do it. No.
What do you... Oh, sorry. What do you mean?
If they told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That's my field. But no, they told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly, unreasonable.
Oh, wait. Utterly. Wait. That's not a haiku. Utterly, unbelievably. Wait a minute. That's not even a haiku. I thought he was going to speak in haikus. I'm an idiot. I see.
Only the other day, I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on white washi. He must be a man of great standing. Oh yes, so I'm often told.
And often like to be told, it seems.
Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Soseki-san? I didn't do it! I didn't commit that atrocious murder! Murder? Oh, no, it's alright. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes!
Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker?
I didn't see anyone.
What?
If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here? Oh dear, it seems this case is becoming rather complicated.
Which is exactly how we predicted it would go.
Why me? Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient.
So Soseki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker.
It's vital that we find out more about the case.
Well, we're about to.
It was an accursed evening just after the snow had started to clear and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings.
Sure, the bookshop wasn't accursed too.
As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. How terrible! I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard.
Slight exaggeration there, perhaps.
I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs could carry me back to my accursed lodgings.
That's not good.
They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that. Tell me, Soseki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours? Don't be ridiculous. Do you think I know any of these fair-haired English and a young woman at that? I'm diffident, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people.
I see. A young woman unknown to Soseki-san. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anybody pass you?
Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul.
No one? Oh, great.
So the victim was unknown to you, and there was nobody else on the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it?
What conundrum? There's only one suspect. That's the conundrum, and the suspect is our client. What do you mean, Susato-san? What's the conundrum?
Well, if what Soseki-san has just told us is true, there's something I can't explain. He says that he didn't know the victim and that there was no one else at the scene. Then, he apparently fled without having been seen. I did!
But if that's the case, didn't the inspector say that somebody saw him? Surely this man has to be the culprit. No.
Ah! You! What did you just say?
I think he's like, this is like an episode where I think Naruhodo is thinking that he's saying this stuff in his head, but I think he's actually saying it out loud accidentally. Nothing! I didn't say anything! Oops. Perhaps I thought that a little loudly.
Actually, that's not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Soseki-san actually come to be arrested?
Sorry?
He didn't touch the victim, and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was there in the first place?
Oh yes, she's right.
It was him! That accursed great detective! He led the police to me! Of all the bad luck!
Accursed great detective? Oh no, could it be?
I shall never forget the man's name as long as I live! With his haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness! Brash, big-headed, busybody, begone! May you be cursed until the end of your days, Herlock Sholmes!
Oh no, not my boy. I knew it!
Mr. Sholmes!
Herlock Sholmes. Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure.
It was the morning after that nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a sliver. I was gnawing on a sliver of hard cheese when some men suddenly bursted through the door. They started shouting at me, "This is the police! Put the weapon down!" Yes, it was a thin sliver, and yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon. Disgusting dietary discrimination, devils!
You clearly had a trying morning yesterday.
And there he was, in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That Herlock Sholmes!
It's actually just Herlock Sholmes. He's English.
I've since found out that he's a famous name in detention here in London.
In detection, not detention.
Yes, the great detective is really very well known. And his overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. He thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman! Me, this weak, stooped kitten of a man!
I wonder what great deduction process led him to his conclusion this time.
Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable. Well, the thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged their way in. Of course you were. That's only natural. I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me in impossible English. Fiendish, foreign, flim-flammery!
Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English.
Good point. But my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, yes, I do, and I'm fine.
Aww, I'm fine, just like Apollo. I almost spilled my drink all over my desk. That would have been bad. I need some water though. This voice is a little hard on me. Oh, also I feel like my facial muscles are like they need to stretch.
The next thing I knew, I was in manacles, and before I knew it, I was thrown in here. Oh dear, I'm afraid that's hardly surprising.
I'm fine? He's not fine now. Yeah, certainly not.
Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire!
Esquire? Jesus. Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo. And when we're speaking English, a simple Mr. is more than enough.
Oh, yes, alright, yes, they've really got to me. This country is poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you?
Well,
Why? Why is it so hard to say yes to me?
seems kind of... He gives me a little bit of a... Milady vibe. Anyway. Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself on a study tour.
A student?
I have defended a case in the Old Bailey, only the one, though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means.
Oh, Naruhodo-san.
I'm not even the foreign student who was supposed to be here. I'm a sort of locum lawyer, I suppose.
But that armband, that's the mark of a defense lawyer from our great empire.
It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend.
A keepsake. I know exactly what they're saying about me. Oh, who do you mean? The lawyers, all the British defense lawyers, they won't defend me. Goodness, why? Why do you say that? For the same reason as you noted before, when it happened. There was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit.
It must be very hard for you, Saseki-san.
And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them, someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot, without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said, and
Of course the foreigner did it. Oh, that's some straight up xenophobia.
they even had the gall to say, this man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway.
That's fucked up. That's really fucked up. That's awful.
They're wrong! I studied more English than half of the policemen out there on the streets. I traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me.
Oh my god, this is like... It's like real.
So, at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. You could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through.
Saseki-san, it's just that... Come on, Ryunosuke. Come on, man. Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can for the time being.
What do you mean?
We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, thank you. I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
We should be going to Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for.
See, I like this guy better than the Gilded. Alright, let's go to Briar Road then. The scene of the crime. Well, that bike has seen better days.
Aw, it's got a snowman.
So this is where it happened, Briar Road.
Ah, look, Mr. Naruhodo. Look at that regulation metal helmet. It's unmistakable. The men of Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak.
That is their job, you know.
Mr. Naruhodo, to see one with my own eyes. They're often depicted in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, but I never dreamt I'd ever come this close. To a real Bobby's helmet.
What? The helmet?
Of course. I have to try one on one day.
Well, I hope your Hattie dreams come true. Oh, he's back. Brooklyn McGee. What's the Japanese delegation doing here?
Oh, Inspector Gregson.
This isn't on the tourist trail. I'm fairly sure you're... as I'm fairly sure you're well aware.
Yes, of course. We're here to investigate.
So you've been to the holding cells then? What'd you make of the criminal?
He's not a criminal, as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect.
We'll see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose. That's a little racist. Well, do what you will. It doesn't bother me. The bloke's in court tomorrow, whatever happens. And the verdict's a foregone conclusion. Ugh, the stone-cold air of rejection.
Take heart! London at this time of year is full of stone-cold air.
That makes it worse somehow. Well, let's talk with him some more.
Tell me about Scotland Yard, Inspector. Ever since I read about it in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, I've been fascinated by the place.
The Yard is the most sophisticated policing organization you'll find anywhere in the world, ma'am.
Oh, and you know I've always dreamt of wearing a real Bobby's helmet.
Oh, hello, Midna. It does make them look the part, seeing that policeman there with his helmet on. Midna, do you mind? I'm in the middle of something. You certainly get the sense that this is a man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting the city.
Oh yes, doesn't he look wonderful?
Being a London Bobby is hard going, I can tell you.
Oh really?
First thing in the morning, you know what he does? Goes round and rouses all the laborers on his beat so they can get off to work. What? He wakes people up? Yup, raps on the windows with a long pole. Did it himself going back a bit.
I had no idea.
The Bobby works for the people of the town. It's just another one of his duties. After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's the regulation distance. I can't really imagine how far that is, but it sounds like a long way.
Let me see. 20 miles. That's approximately the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama.
On foot? That's definitely taking things a step too far. And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting all the gas street lamps.
Oh my.
And I suppose in between all of those duties, Bobbies are expected to investigate cases as well.
And chase after criminals trying to evade the law.
I'm not sure you can call it in between exactly, more alongside, but yes. They're expected to handle those jobs as well. We have men keeling over from time to time, I admit. Yeah, it's a tough job. But I think they'll be okay.
I'd always dreamt of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart that I shall have to relinquish that dream to you, Mr. Naruhodo.
Your heavy heart will be my heavy head if you do. It happened at around 5 in the evening, 2 days ago, just there on that open bit of pavement. The victim, a young woman, was stabbed with a blade from behind. Is it right that the lady is still unconscious now? You mentioned that she's being treated in hospital. I never said she was a lady. Truth is, unless she comes around pretty smartish, we won't be able to find out much about her at all. I suppose that means they haven't been able to take a statement from her, of course. Here's a map of the local area. I happen to have one on me. You can take it if you want. Really? Are you sure? It's yard policy to give lawyers defending suspects the odd bit of information to go on. That's good, because otherwise I'd be shit out of luck. I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still.
Thank you, Inspector. We gratefully accept.
Cool. I got a local map. Anyway, as far as we know, there was no one else on the scene other than the victim and your fellow countrymen. So who did it, do you think? So who did it, do you think? Not much of a head scratcher, is it? Well, I know Mr. Natsume is also claiming to not have seen anyone else around, but...
But just because he didn't see anyone, it doesn't mean we can be sure that nobody else was present.
I'm sorry to have to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure.
How?
Because, ma'am, the precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed. It what? We have two very reliable witnesses, no less. It was a typical foggy London day, and your client obviously didn't see them. There were witnesses. Oh, sorry. There were witnesses now? Yeah, I want to hear about these witnesses.
No, Vicky, you're so cute.
Who are these witnesses, Inspector? A fellow and his wife. The man's one of the most reliable and respected citizens in all of London. He's a copper from Scotland Yard. Oh. I don't think that makes them reliable, but okay. A policeman? That might change things.
And this policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked?
Nothing peculiar about that, ma'am. Part and parcel of being a Bobby, catching them bang in the act and all that. Do you think it might be possible for us to ask that policeman a few questions? Be my guest. You can ask him what you like. In court tomorrow. Oh. I've no doubt he'll be summoned as a witness. So that'll give you something to look forward to. That's that then. He's got no intention of letting us meet the man beforehand, it seems.
A policeman witnessed the incident. As your judicial assistant, I must warn you that this could make our job very difficult indeed.
Yes, as a non-judicial assistant, I could have warned me of that too. Oh yes, one more thing, Inspector. What? The person who led you to the suspect. I hear that was Mr. Herlock Sholmes. What are you bringing him up for? Was it something I said? The color has drained from his cheeks. Uh-oh. I'm gonna talk about tomorrow's trial first. That twitchy Japanese bloke goes on trial tomorrow. Are you going to defend him or not? Well, makes no difference to me, but I will say this. No London lawyer worth his salt would touch that case with a barge pole. Because the prosecution is being handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean? There's no way to save the man now. It's a waste of time trying. It is all a bit strange, though. Sorry? The Reaper. He hasn't appeared in court once for a good few years now.
Yes, we did hear something to that effect.
And the only people he usually bothers with are the real scum, the master criminals, the violent ones. Master criminals?
The violent ones?
That's right, he handpicks his victims, only deals with those guaranteed to go to the gallows for their sins. But Mr. Natsume wouldn't hang for what he's accused of, surely. That's just my point, Sunshine. Yeah, the young woman was stabbed, but it didn't kill her. Couldn't even say the intent was there. So this isn't the sort of case I'd be expecting the Reaper to want to sink his teeth into, for want of a better phrase. Well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, is it? No, there's got to be more to it. For some reason he's taken an interest.
Really? What sort of reason, Inspector?
You think I can tell what's going on inside the head of that Lord of Darkness? You'll have to ask him yourself at tomorrow's trial. Are we really gonna have to face the Reaper again? The Lord of Darkness, as he put it? Who did you hear that name from? Oh, well, it was Mr. Natsume who mentioned it. He said that Mr. Sholmes was with the police when they entered his lodgings.
I'm sure it was the result of one of Mr. Sholmes' inspirational great deductions.
Fiddle faddle! The man's an amateur, and I'm getting sick and tired of him showing his mug everywhere. Oh, I don't know where he gets his information from, but he toits up at the scene of the crime, wanders around spouting incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claims to have solved the case. Yes, he's quite astounding, isn't he?
He is a great help to Scotland Yard, though, isn't he?
Gibble gabble.
Ah,
Ever seen this before? Oh, yes, that's Rance Magazine.
the wonderful publication in which the adventures of Herlock Sholmes appears.
Yes, well, that wonderful publication, as you put it, sees fit to include several of the Yard's detectives in its stories. And the so-called Great Detective makes a mockery of all of us. If you ask anyone at the Yard, it's a misadventure to be included in any Herlock Sholmes tale at all.
Well, I suppose there is an element of that.
We work our socks off, every one of us, only to be frumped by the public thanks to that obnoxious detective. The man's as dangerous to us at Scotland Yard as he is to all of our criminals.
That can't really be true, can it, Inspector?
Clearly the Great Detective and the police have a complex relationship. Well... well, I said that before. I said that before even Ryunosuke said it. I don't think we're going to get any more useful information out of the detective. So let's examine.
Mr. Naruhodo, can I make a suggestion?
Oh yes, what is it?
Well, it seems to be that we must speak with him about this.
By him, do you mean Mr. Sholmes?
Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, exactly.
Look at those shining eyes. You can't wait, can you? Well, Mr. Natsume did blame Mr. Sholmes for all of this, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He really did. Which makes him an involved party in the case. Are you just going to ignore that? I hope not. I assure you, it's not simply my selfish desire to meet with Mr. Sholmes again.
The trouble is, we have no idea of the man's address, even. So,
It's Baker Street!
how do you know that?
It's in the stories, of course. 221 Baker Street, the book.
Ma'am? And they just jumped up on the...
Hey, the most famous address in the world.
Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing to stop us from going, I suppose. We better try to find our way there before Susato-san gets any more excited and unpredictable.
Hurrah! I'll summon a carriage!
So we're to have a reunion already with the great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. But wait, I didn't get to investigate. I gotta investigate first. That's one of the officers from Scotland Yard. The police are making sure the crime scene is undisturbed. I have a feeling that if we wander too close, we'll be clapped in irons.
I think perhaps you're being a little overcautious. We've done nothing wrong, so we have no cause for concern.
Oh no, I'm not getting caught out again. Twice is enough. Twice I found myself in handcuffs despite not knowing a thing about what was going on.
Yes, you've had some dreadful experiences. I'm sure it's that wide-eyed look of panic you're so prone to. It does you no favors at all.
Ugh.
Oh, that's a Scotland Yard carriage. They use vehicles like that to rush to crime scenes and cart away criminals.
You're very well informed, aren't you?
It's long been a dream of mine to ride one of those through the streets of London.
Well, just pick up a stone and throw it through one of the windows then.
But that would mean being arrested in order to ride it. Wouldn't it? Still, if it's the only way.
Help me find a good stone. Oh my god, girly girl, no! No, 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 I wasn't serious. I like the snowman. What's he got to say about the snowman?
What a delightful snowman.
I didn't realize the English had a tradition of making snowmen as well. It looks a little creepy though.
Oh, it has a scarf. Look.
You'd need one if you were out in this freezing cold all the time. I wish I had one.
I'm afraid our budget is somewhat frozen at the moment, too. We certainly can't afford a scarf.
Surely the snowman here wouldn't miss his.
But the person who made the snowman certainly would.
Yes, I know, you're right. Anyway, even if I borrowed it, it wouldn't do much to warm my neck, would it? It's covered in snow. This patch of pavement must be where the incident occurred. Midna, I hear you making noise. Okay, give me a second, y'all. She is struggling. I think there's some boxes in the way of her trying to... Oh, it's okay, Mid. I'll fix it for you. Silly Midna. Can you not get to your spot? Here you go, darling. darling. I had some moving boxes. She has still struggling, I see. She has a little spot up on the bookshelf that she keeps jumping on. I put a blanket there for her to lay down. There were some moving boxes in the way. She couldn't get to it, so she turns around and she's like, meow. Poor thing. I moved them for her. Anyway, back to what we were doing. This patch of pavement must be where the incident occurred. Scoop my chair up some more.
Yes, it's a very wide open space, isn't it?
That's true. I can't see anywhere an attacker could have been hiding. Oi! What are you foreigners doing here? Oh, we're just investigating the scene, officer. Conspiring with that mustache fella from Japan, are ya? Conspiring? Come here to destroy evidence, have ya? Get out here before I give you an eye. And give you an... whatever. Go on.
You shoot us away like rats.
Yes, we should give him a wide berth, I think.
What a disappointing experience.
He's mean. William Robbins. Like Robin Williams. That's what he is. Oh my god, Minda, you scared. Minda! I literally just... And then you stick your butt in my face? Oh my god. The rudest. No manners. You're getting cat hair everywhere, too. You gotta pick a spot, honey girl. Honey babe. Sweet baby child. You just need attention, don't you? She demands attention, everybody. She's demanding attention. I'm getting her tangled up in my cords, though. She's demanding attention. She's like, love me. You're not petting me. I love you, Midna. But go on. Silly kitty. Alright, so, it doesn't look like... Oh, wait, oh, no, hold on, there was more. I've investigated thoroughly, but I can't find anything out of place. Okay, no. There we go. Strand Street. This is so me when I'm investigating a murder.
That's a rather typical old brick building, isn't it? I'm sure it has a long and interesting history.
Well, time certainly seems to have taken its toll on the place. It's crooked and sagging all over. In fact, it looks decidedly worse shape than the other houses around here.
We must find some cheap lodgings ourselves as soon as possible.
Yes, you're right. Cheap, but ideally with reasonable level floors. I want to know what the story about this bike is. Because, oh wow, thank you, Cool Beats, for contributing points.
Oh, a British bicycle.
It's your bike? Your bike's seen better days, my man.
Although the wheel is so misshapen, I'm sure it couldn't possibly be ridden anymore.
Someone must have been doing some breakneck cycling. Have you been doing some breakneck cycling, Cool Beans?
It seems bicycles have become extremely popular in London recently. There's even a movement to change women's dress to allow them to ride as well.
The bicycle fad won't last. I don't see why anyone would want to ride something like that. Oh, sweet Naruhodo. I messed up the front tire on the Super Turbo uphill downhill car. During the rhythm boxing round. Oh, of course. Everyone knows that one's the most dangerous round. That's quite the, did you catch any good air during that, uphill downhill competition?
Goodness, do you dislike bicycles?
No, not at all. I mean, it's not that I dislike them exactly. It's just that any occupation that involves taking both your feet off firm ground seems reckless. Mostly on the downhills. That's fair. That's fair. It's really hard to hit those rhythm beats too when you're going on the downhill. You just gotta pick up speed. If you'd ever try walking on stilts and fallen into a river, I know you'd agree with me.
Well, we'll have to hire a bicycle sometimes. You can sit behind me while I ride you around.
there's a fence broken. Oh, look at the windows of that building there. Oh, wait. Oh my god, they're bricked up.
Are you sure they're windows?
Yes, but they're all filled in with bricks. George with one E. Jorg. Jorg with one E. I'm so sorry. Your nemesis.
Oh, you're right. I wonder why. Perhaps it's an empty property where nobody lives at the moment.
There's smoke coming from the chimneys, though. That's not good that the chimney is, like, going and there's no ventilation from the windows.
Oh dear, everything still feels very foreign. There's so much we have to learn about this place.
There's squatters! There are piles of snow on the pavement here and there, but the road itself is covered in carriage tracks.
It seems carriages often travel down Briar Road. It soon disperses all the snow.
I slipped over when I was walking down the pavement earlier. It seems like it would be far safer to walk on the road instead.
Oh, but you're rather small, Mr. Naruhodo, and dressed all in black. I worry coachmen might not see you, and you could be flattened by horses.
Well, thank you for the rather small concern. Aw, he's self-conscious. I think I've investigated everything, unless... Oh, whoop. There was something there. The clouds look so big and heavy in the sky, don't they? With the dense fog as well, everything looks hazy.
Well, it is known as Foggy London Town.
I can just make out some sort of spire through the fog. It looks like it's still being built, though.
Aha! Yes! That must be the Crystal Tower, being built for the great exhibition that's to open...
Excuse me, I'm like, lose my breath.
That's to open in 6 months' time. Apparently it's going to be very striking, glazed on all sides, and the symbolic centerpiece of the exhibition.
It's to be the largest exposition in history, is it? I can't even begin to imagine it. I love the little stream avatars. Everyone's picking like the little square boys, and I have Luca. So it's like Luca has her little army of square boys. That was your famous exposition of all time? You'll have to tell me all about it. Did you see any cool shit? Was Jorg there? Hopefully Jorg wasn't there. Did you take your bike to the exposition? Is that where it got damaged? Alright, I think that's really all I can investigate, because I don't see anything else. You should be able to change it. If not, then I probably need to fiddle with some settings. I'm still getting used to this whole stream avatars thing. Although I have seen people change it. I've seen, I think I saw somebody with an Animal Crossing one earlier. Can I present evidence? Wait, I should look at my evidence first before I present anything. Calabash Road, Meerschaum Road, Briar Road. Okay. I guess I'll try. Might as well try. Thank you again for this. Don't mention it. I had someone at the yard fish it out for me, but in the end I didn't need it. Oh? Well, the case could hardly be simpler, could it? I don't need a map to work out what happened. You can throw it away when you're done with it. Cold. Alright, well that's really all the evidence I had, so I guess we're gonna move. Ah, we're gonna go to Mr. Sholmes' house. Oh, cool beans! I like your little stream avatar. It looks like Lynn? Rin is the girl, so yeah, Lynn. This is Kaito Erasure. Did they not have a Kaito? That is Kaito Erasure. I love Kaito. I can't believe we get a cutscene for this. We're going to Baker Street. To Sherlock Holmes' house.
Thank you very much.
Or sorry, Sherlock Sholmes. I'm an idiot.
Good day.
Good day.
Thanks again.
It still throws me that they have British accents.
This is it. The residence of Mr. Herlock.
Oh, look at her.
Sholmes.
She's so excited. They do have Gooby. That is kind of sus. I love his little plants. This is Kaito Erasure. Oh boy. Sure has a lot of shit around. Sholmes is sweet. So this is where the great detective makes his living. It feels surreal to be here somehow. Good God. Oh no. She's probably like... Is it as described in the stories? Is it as described in the stories, Miss Susato? Susato-san?
Many famous cases have been solved here in this very room.
Oh, I suppose they must have been, yes. I've never read the story, so it's hard to get quite as excited about it as she seems to be.
The detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the fog down an unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it, the romanticism! Can't you feel your heart thumping in your chest? Can't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
I love how much of a fangirl she is. It gives me so much life. Oh, I suppose I can, yes.
So if you don't mind, I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer. Please, don't mind me.
She's obsessed. Well, looks like our detective friend isn't home at present. Excuse me, is anybody home? Oh, do we have a visitor? It's her!
Hello, it is a big new case for Mr. Sholmes.
Hello. I love her. I want to cosplay her. A child. She reminds, you know what who she reminds me of? She reminds me of Purah from Breath of the Wild. Like in her child form. Like she has like the goggles and everything. Right? If I could do like the wig, that'd be like some hella wig styling too to get those coils just right and those like, oh my god. It'd be so fun though. And I actually do want to cosplay Purah, so it's like kind of the same vein of character that I like. Aren't you?
Oh, how rude of me. I'll go and make some tea at once.
I'm sure it's the same girl. Mr. Sato, did you see the girl who was just here?
Oh yes. Isn't it truly extraordinary? To think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Sholmes to take on his case.
The King of Bavaria?
King Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund von Ormstein, of course.
I hope I pronounced that correctly. Probably not. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventures of Herlock Sholmes for a moment and look over there.
The tea's brewed. I have a freshly baked cake as well. Oh, it's you.
I knew it. Susato-san recognizes her too.
Ah, there you are. I'm taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher.
Bohemia is part of the chat. Is it really? Am I really that dumb? Are people out here represented?
Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine.
Look at her! She's so freaking... Wait, what does she have on her? On her back? She has like little characters on her backpack. It's a little hard to see. It's the girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGilden's trial in the defendant's antechamber.
I've never met a lawyer from the Far East before. Poor you having to get straight to work when we've only just arrived in London.
Oh, yes, it was challenging.
Well, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know.
Oh, thank you. Is tea supposed to look that color?
Oh my, what a fragrant yet mellow flavor. Hooray, it's a winner. I tried blending different leaves designed to alleviate fatigue, you see. You must be exhausted after your long voyage here, and you have another ticklish trial tomorrow. Oh, and you're to defend a Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of luck. Did Mr. Sholmes tell you about us by any chance? Oh, you know Hurley, do you?
Hurley? Mr. Sholmes to you, Shirley.
Mr. Mr. Sholmes was a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see. Was he really? Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's out on an errand again today, even though he's just returned from overseas.
Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time ever yesterday after the trial, and only briefly at that. How on earth does she know so much about us? Did she deduce all those things, do you think?
And perhaps more to the point, why is she here in Mr. Sholmes' suite?
Oh, silly me. I haven't introduced myself, have I?
Look at her gloves! They have little hearts on them! I want to cosplay her so bad. Oh my gosh. Iris will... I love her! I love her so much. It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson.
I live here together with Hurley.
I love her. I love her! Ah, Iris is it? What a lovely name. That's the second pink hair Iris that I know. I know now 2 anime characters named Iris who have pink hair. What's the matter?
No, wait. This can't be. Did you say that your name is Wilson?
What's the matter with Susato-san? Why is she so flustered all of a sudden? Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right? Perfect. Excellent, cool beans.
Yes, that's right. And what are your names?
Oh, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan.
Oh, sorry. And I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. It's wonderful to meet you.
Lovely. Susie and Rudo. Got it.
Susie and Runo. I love it. And Runo. There's more to this girl than meets the eye. I love her. I love her. She might be my new favorite character. Like, she might be my new favorite character. I have so many questions for her. I don't know where to start.
Yes, and so do I.
Yes, but first, I want to look around. I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we've arrived in the country, in fact. Lingering beside the fire and watching the flames flicker and dance at the grate. Ah, it's so relaxing.
We can't relax, not when there are so many interesting things on the mantelpiece. Oh, it's just as it was described in the stories.
It is?
Yes, exactly. Inside that Persian slipper, for example.
Are my chocolates for 11Cs?
And transfixed by that large jackknife
is my shopping list for the market.
Oh, it's not quite how I remember it being described in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
Poor Susato-san, she looks crushed. What about this stuff?
A mystery shoe, a curious hammer, some mysterious dancing men, a bust of Napoleon. Ah, what an entrancing collection!
This is the first time in my life that I've seen a lonely old shoe displayed as an ornament.
Oh, those are all mementos that Hurley has collected from his past cases.
Really? Even the bust?
Yes, that's right. When the mood takes him, he likes to throw it on the floor and smash it to dust.
The poor defenseless emperor? Mr. Sholmes destroys it?
Yes, and then he buys a new one.
You make it sound like he has the temperament of an insane sculptor.
Ah, how entrancingly bohemian of him!
What? It's a nice chair. I like this trunk that he's using as a table. It looks like that huge metal chest is being used as a table for tea and coffee. It seems very sturdy with an equally sturdy lock.
Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't go around opening things. I always have to keep an eye on you, don't I? You're very mischievous.
How did you come to that conclusion?
Ooh, that chest.
Contains some of my most valuable things.
And that smile tells me you're not going to give us any clue about what they are. I love her so much. There's all sorts on these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high I can't help feeling that the whole lot is going to topple at any moment.
I keep telling
silly not to cram so much on those shelves.
Good advice.
He wanted to look something up in one of those books a while ago. But it was so tightly wedged in he couldn't get out. So I went and bought a new copy instead.
Sounds like me. Today I got to explain to someone why we couldn't remove a brainstem. You know, I'm not a doctor, nor a medical student. At first I thought they were, you laughed at them? I bet they did not like that. But honestly, I would have done the same thing. It does not take an expert to know that you can't remove a brainstem. You know, people say that there are no stupid questions, but that might be a dumb question right there. I would have laughed too. I don't blame you. What did you say? Why did they ever think that you could... You gotta tell me what they did, because I feel like... What on earth is this huge over-the-top machine?
That's the great analytoscope. It can analyze...
I'm losing my accent.
It can analyze anything, really. Anything at all. That's absolutely incredible.
I can just imagine you totally deadpan, like, it would probably disrupt vital life functions. Duh. Yeah, I think it would.
It's one of Early's inventions. It took him a whole year. He said it was to help him with his investigations. What sort of things does he analyze with it, do you know? Well, actually, he hasn't used it for anything yet.
Oh. Why not?
Apparently, on the evening he finally completed it, suddenly occurred to him, I don't actually have anything I need to analyze.
Oh dear.
How about you, Runo? Do you have anything you'd like to analyze?
The only thing that springs to mind is this machine itself. Lots of chemistry stuff around. I like the music that's playing. Oh, does he play violin? Oh, I've seen pictures of Western musical instruments like this. It's called a violin, isn't it?
Of course it is! Mr. Sholmes is renowned for his violin playing.
Oh, really?
Absolutely, it's often explained in the stories. It's inspirational, Mr. Naruhodo, inspirational.
She is absolutely fangirling.
I immediately started playing the koto, which was the closest Japanese stringed instrument I could find.
What a shame you couldn't bring it with you to London.
Oh yes, well, Papa was beaming when I asked him if he would buy me one. But after a while, he asked if I would only practice when he was out of the house.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me. My dad told me a story one time about he was learning to play the violin, I think. And I think he actually also drove my grandmother insane. He just like didn't know what some people, like, the stupidity just like washes over you and you're like, I don't know what I do not blame you. Anyway, my dad, I think, was also learning the violin, and he was also terrible at it. Because, spoiler alert, my dad does not play the violin. But he apparently, he was, he would do this thing where, like, he would practice the song, and he would get to a part where he'd like, mess up, and he would mess up, and he would just go, oh, crap. And then he would start over, instead of just, like, working through it and, like, continue, which is, like, exactly where I get it from. But apparently it drove my grandmother, his mother, absolutely up the wall.
So now it's merely an ornament in my room.
That must have been an awkward conversation. Second-rate strings. I got an achievement for that. Oh, there's more stuff. Is this her part of the room?
Ah, that's my blackboard where I note down ideas.
Ooh, interesting. Let's see. Black Peter. What does that mean?
Don't you want to hear what Iris has to say, Mr. Naruhodo?
I'll come back to that blackboard later. Okay. I like her little tea set. Oh, and little jars have hearts on them. Everything's heart-shaped. I love it. It's so freaking cute. What a beautiful English tea set. It's so neatly arranged.
It's a favorite pastime of mine, a cup of herbal tea in the afternoon. Tea made of herbs? right. I grow all sorts of herbs in the garden so I can experiment with different blends. One moment, don't go away. I'll brew a pot of the special blend I came up with earlier today.
She looks so delighted. I only hope it's safe to drink. I'm sure it is. Got a little china set. What are? Oh God, what are those? That's a charming little white shelf and full of charming little bottles too.
Oh yes, but don't touch any of those. They might explode.
Explode?
Are they exotic chemicals? Do you use them for exciting experiments? Yes, indeed. And as Annie always says, chemistry is an explosive science.
Sorry?
I agree. A single discovery can trigger an explosion of innovation all around the world.
Or perhaps he just meant it literally. Either way, mental note, do not touch any of the bottles that belong to Iris. Just a little typewriter. What on earth is that big black lump over there?
Oh, that fascinating thing is called a typewriter. It's a machine that allows you to write on paper without needing a pen. And wizardly quickly, too.
Ooh, that sounds like it could be very useful for someone like me with terrible handwriting. Once I accidentally blew up a glass. Best slap day ever. Yeah, that would definitely make it exciting. Hopefully nobody was hurt in the process. It was you that we ran into yesterday, wasn't it? You were safe? That's good. That's good. Always practice safe science.
Yes, that's right. You were ever so helpful. Thank you so much. Oh no, not at all. I'm sorry we couldn't have been more welcoming.
Though at the time, we did have a rather large gun pointed at us.
Like this? Thinking back now, you left with Miss Lestrade in tow, didn't you?
I love her too. Oh yes, that awkward witness, Gina Lestrade.
Oh, Ginny? Yes, she's a professional pickpocket.
So we found out.
It was very naughty of her to pinch my invention like that.
Are you referring to that trial disrupting gun-like contraption?
Exactly, so I followed her, you see, to get it back. Perhaps I should think of fitting a self-destruct mechanism in my inventions.
Jenny stands where we at. Right here. This girl is dangerous.
Anyway, I brought Jenny back here after that, so she could apologize to my trusted technician.
Sorry, your technician?
Hurley, of course, silly.
Hurley?
Yes, Herlock Sholmes. We live here together.
I had no idea the great detective had such an interesting young daughter.
Daughter? Not likely.
What?
I wouldn't call him Hurley if he was my father, would I?
How old is she? She's 10. Oh my god. She has a degree in medicine and is the author of a popular series of short stories at 10. She makes me feel really bad about myself. You call your dad Hurley? Yeah, gosh, she's just judging you then. Of course his name is Greg. With one G? No, I'm just kidding.
Well then, what is your relationship with Mr. Sholmes? Well, I expect you found out that lodgings of any kind in London are very expensive. So the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate.
You're roommates. Oh my god, they were roommates.
I hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you?
Oh, I could have just literally waited.
10 at last this year.
Well, what of your mother and father?
Oh no, they're not around.
Oh, I see. I wonder what the story is there.
Oh yes, there's something I must ask you. Of course, go ahead, Susie. I'm a very great fan of the adventures of Herlock Sholmes and...
Oh, you have a copy of Rand's magazine.
Yes, I read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on a ship. Oh, this is so exciting! My stories are being read on the other side of the world.
My stories?
That's right. Hurley is always solving such amazing cases, you see, and he tells me all about them. They really are quite fascinating. It would be such a shame if I was the only one who ever heard them, don't you think? Goodness. Last night he was telling me all about the new case he solved on a steamship travelling from a faraway land. So I was just in the middle of typing up the manuscript for the next issue before you came. So you were the author? Yes, I'll let you in on a secret if you like. I'm going to call this latest adventure The Speckled Band.
The Speckled Band? That's certainly very familiar. Oh boy.
Of course, I always change one or two details in the stories, here and there. This time, I had the idea of making a venomous snake be the cause of all the trouble.
Oh, that was Mr. Sholmes' first thought as well, actually.
Yes, and of course I know that a snake might not be a credible fit for the facts of the case exactly, but it's a story. Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think, don't you? So, do you mean to say...
Oh, her dreams are about to be crushed. Are the stories about Mr. Sholmes that are published in Rand magazine?
All written by me? Yes, on my wonderful and very modern typewriter. But all the stories I've ever read are written by a doctor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson.
Susato-san's getting more and more worked up. Oh no.
Oh yes, that's me. I mean, my name really is Wilson. But what about the doctor of medicine part? That's all true too. I am a doctor of medicine.
No, at 10 years old?
At 10 years old.
Well, that's quite incredible.
But, oh, she's crying! But, Dr. Wilson is an English gentleman. Ah, yes. I did alter the setting slightly for the stories to be more compelling. Well, sounds a little strange, doesn't it? A great detective with a 10-year-old girl in tow.
They just handed them out in the magazines back then. We blamed everything. There's ghosts in your blood. Do cocaine about it. That's gotta be one of my favorite memes on the internet. Because it's just so fucking true. Everything's ghosts. Everything's ghosts. Gotta blame the ghosts and the Ouija boards.
I suppose it does, yes.
Poor Susato-san. She looks like her whole world has just fallen apart. Don't meet your heroes. About the 4.
Yes, what's on your mind, Bruno? Do tell me.
How did you know that I was a lawyer and we'd just arrived in London, I mean? And not one answer is ghosts. Hey, if it was a... yeah, the liberal propaganda machine in action, trying to teach our kids that there are no ghosts. We only believe in true family values, and every family has to have at least one ghost. That's the American dream. How did you know that I was a lawyer and we just arrived in London, I mean?
Yes. Oh, and that we have a difficult trial tomorrow. How did you know all of that? Oh, that's what you mean. Please, tell us how you did it. Explain every detail. Of course, I'd be delighted, although there's really no mystery. Now let's begin.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Iris Wilson is proud to present her Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
Oh my god.
First of all, I knew already that you were a lawyer, Bruno. After all, I met you yesterday at the Old Bailey in the defendant's antechamber.
But you also said that we'd only just arrived in London. How did you know that?
I observed a passport and travel ticket protruding from your breast pocket.
Oh.
So I was reasonably confident that you must have only just arrived in the country. on top of that, you accepted a case against that particular prosecutor, telling me you were unaware of London's court affairs.
The Reaper of the Bailey. I walked right into that one, didn't I?
Then I noticed a red ink stab on the back of Susie's hand. You were given that when you visited the local prison to meet with the suspect, weren't you, earlier today? They use those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see. I didn't realise. And a red stamp is only used for people visiting foreign inmates. So, that told me that even though you had only yesterday concluded the trial of Magnus Begilded, the two of you had already had cause to visit a foreign inmate at a local prison. However, neither of you was wearing a particularly sad expression on your face, so I concluded that the prisoner was unlikely to be a friend or a relative. That led me to believe that you must have accepted a new case.
I see. She's actually really fucking smart. I guess you have to be a doctor of medicine at 10 years old.
But how could you have known that the trial is tomorrow? Well, having barely been home a few hours yesterday, Hurley solved yet another case. It obviously amused him. He told me he'd caught a Japanese man who was bawling and trembling. A Japanese man? Well, clearly that must have been Mr. Natsume. Now Runo has that fancy Japanese sword. And I think your outfit is called a kimono, isn't it, Susie? Well, anyway, it was clear to me that both you come from Japan yourselves. So I put two and two together and decided you must be defending the Japanese man Hurley caught. And there was only one conclusion those facts could lead me to. You both came here to ask Hurley about the case.
She got it, nail on the head.
There's a note on the mantelpiece that says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Hurley is always stabbing his notes with a knife, you know. He's silly. And that's all there is to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Wilson, and that was one of my great deductions.
I love her so much. She's amazing. She's fantastic. I wish I was as smart as her as I was I wish I was as smart as her. Oh yeah, that security deposit was long gone. That security deposit was gone the minute they were like, this is Sherlock Holmes. They're like, you know what? Just go ahead and pay us a fee. Like, don't even consider it a security deposit because... Actually, speaking of security deposits, I don't know if you noticed, but up above the bookshelf on the left, like look right above Susanoo's head, there's literally VR, like, I think those are bullet holes. I think it's shot into the wall. That security deposit, consider it like it never existed. It's probably, they probably owed a second security deposit because they probably like, it was probably too much money.
Well, was it a winner? Were my deductions correct?
They were spot on.
That was amazing, Iris. Truly a great deduction.
You even managed to manage the certain something of Mr. Sholmes' delivery.
Oh, well, I was just copying Hurley's style for that. This is really very good news. You could tell us all about the case involving the Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris? Please?
So yesterday, Mr. Sholmes apprehended a Japanese man, you were saying.
Yes. Hurley had just arrived back in London after his sea voyage, but the police were waiting for him at the railway station to take him directly to the crime scene.
Ah, the great detective is a popular man, it seems.
Apparently, a woman was stabbed on a quiet street somewhere in town. There were witnesses who had seen a short, shifty-looking stooped man running away from the scene. A short, shifty-looking stooped man. Mr. Nuts.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Nuts. Oh my gosh, I'm switching their voices up. Mr. Natsume beyond any doubt. Soseki-san said that he didn't see anybody else on the street at all. But it seems there were witnesses after all.
Hurley used his great deductive powers to determine the man's address. It was a lodging room very nearby. He went directly there with the police, and what did they find? A short, shifty-looking stooped man shivering in fear.
Mr. Sholmes' great deduction certainly hit the mark that time.
Of course it did. He's a great detective.
Still, that means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow is too soon for the trial, isn't it?
Definitely. We have no time to investigate properly. Hurley said says that London is rife with crime.
Oh.
Scotland Yard is doing its best, but they can't stay on top of it, apparently. Oh dear, I hadn't realized the situation was so dire. That's why they can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying the criminals in court. Staff and money are both short. Crimes are usually pinned on the first suspicious person.
That's terrible. I suppose it's the harsh reality of the workings of the world's greatest justice system.
I suppose it is, but in that case, I don't hold out much hope for Soseki-san. Thank you for answering so many of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative. Oh my god, that little face she made is so cute! She reminds me so much of Pearl. Oh my gosh, I love her so much. She's adorable! Oh my god! She's my favorite.
Oh, you're most welcome. I had so much fun.
Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is at the moment? As you guessed, we'd like to ask him some questions about this case as well.
Oh, well, I expect Hurley is still investigating the scene.
Of course, oh sorry, of the case involving Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, Mr. Nuts.
Natsume? Hurley said he was going to the man's lodgings.
If you leave now, you'll probably catch him there.
Iris, do you know where those lodgings are?
Well, I imagine the police are still investigating the scene of the crime themselves, aren't they? Did you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson when you were there?
Yes, we know Inspector Gregson.
Oh, goody. In that case, give Gregsy this from me, would you? If you do that, I'm sure he'll tell you what you want to know.
What is this?
A 5-shilling piece and a postcard, it seems.
Iris's postcard. Okay.
It reads, "Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem." Gosh, this will make the inspector help us, will it?
She's bribing the inspector. Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give it a try.
Good luck then. I'm going to return to writing my manuscript, The Speckled Band. And I'll be making more special blends of tea, so come back again soon.
We'd be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, it's back to the scene of the crime.
Back to the scene of the crime indeed. So, somewhat dubious that they would exert any influence over the men of Scotland Yard at all, we headed back to the scene with Iris's curious note and one of the world's heaviest silver coins in hand. To be continued. After a short break, I'm gonna go take a little breaky break, but then I will be right back. I promise it won't be long. So you guys just hold tight. I'm gonna save my progress first. Bribe the law! Whoop whoop! Okay. I will be right back, and then we will continue solving the new case and maybe get to talk to Mr. Herlock Sholmes himself. Alrighty, I am back and I'm ready to go. So, let's go talk to Herlock. 2:38 p.m., Briar Road. It looks as though the police are still here, carrying on with their investigation.
Perfect, so let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible.
My pillow is like... It's like, I have a little back support pillow and it was not in my back. I think I like sat on it. Alright. Yes, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him. The bribe. The law bribe. Hello. I'll have to present it to him.
This is a 5-shilling piece, isn't it? I believe it's called a crown.
Yes, and you can train a Scotland Yard detective to do whatever you want with just a single one.
Iris must be the most powerful 10-year-old in the world.
Probably. How much is 5 shillings, by the way? What's it really worth?
Well, it's probably enough to buy all the chips the inspector could possibly eat in a whole month.
Base Runo. That's greasy. Aw, look at her little... Iris's little handwriting is adorable, isn't it? It is!
Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem?
Yes, the handwriting might be adorable, but the message is ominous. There's no room for sentiment there.
I'm sure it's simply the way you're interpreting it, Mr. Naruhodo. Anyway, I do hope the inspector will tell us what we need to know when he reads it.
You don't think it will just make him munch piping hot chips until steam comes out of his ears, do you?
Well, it wouldn't be an entirely terrible outcome.
That would be kind of funny. Anyway. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment? Sorry to say I don't. That's not the voice I gave him. That's British. I'm too, fuck. Hey, I'm Inspector Gregson. I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk to a pair of foreign gadabouts, that's for sure.
We have these for you. A present from Miss Iris Wilson.
What? For me? From a ladyship? Her ladyship? Dude, are you whipped by... Give me the freaking gabagool! Give that here at once! Come on, hand it over. That's for me. Ah! Oh, sorry, that wasn't Susato. That was just me. Don't wait for me to give it to you. Dude. Anyway, we're just gonna run that back. This flavor, I've been drinking this. It's kiwi strawberry, but it tastes like bubble gum. Unbelievably sus. Oh my god. A little bit. I don't know. Very Veruca salt, you know? Like, you give Veruca what she wants. What was that coin exactly? It's a silver crown, obviously, but it's a lot more than that. It's, well, an appearance fee, that's what it is.
An appearance fee? Oh, I see. You mean...
That's right, for the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. Her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me every time.
Yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly.
Of course, her using my name without my say-so does make me a butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still. Still making me crave some fish and chips. I'm sorry, Inspector, that must be difficult for you. Never you mind that. So, what do you want to know then, eh? Sorry? Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust, I've lost my accent there. Well, obviously it's not a problem. Go on, fire away. What do you want to know?
Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, we'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
Ah, the little knife-wielding, mustache Japanese fella. He lives oh my god. It's really hard to, now that I'm like, don't want to do a British accent, it's actually kind of hard because the way that they're typing his lines makes it seem, Anyway. He lives in a right old hovel. I keep slipping into... Whatever. It's just over there. Look. Damn. On the first floor of that house on the corner where that wreck of a bicycle's propped up. Ooh, he talking shit about your bicycle, Cool Beans.
That is nearby indeed.
If I remember rightly, the landlord is a Mr. John Garadeb. Right, well, if you see her again... Oh, miss? Oh, sorry. Just kidding. Mister. You make sure to give her ladyship my regards, you hear? I mean it. You tell her that Gregson sends his very best wishes. Don't worry, Inspector. We will. Goodbye for now, then. And long live her ladyship. That was quite the response.
Well, at least he told us what we wanted to know before he left.
Yes, so then, shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings?
Definitely.
Alright, in we go, I guess. A new location has been added. Yes, I can very much see that. Well, I'll be damned. Oh my god, I love her too.
May I help you?
Ah, yes, would this be the residence of Mr. John Garadeb?
Indeed it would, sir. And who may I say is calling?
My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Soseki Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here. We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client.
Okay, yes, go study, Cool Beans. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope you have a good study night. Get all that knowledge. Let it soak in your brain. Get it deep in the folds of that cranium. See you next time.
One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garadeb.
Did you see that, Mr. Sato? That was a real-life English maid.
I know. As I understand it, anyone of standing in English society employs a number of household staff. But that was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better.
It certainly feels like we've really arrived now, doesn't it?
We need only to meet a butler, and the experience will be complete.
Well, I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment.
Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garadeb will see you now. This way.
Oh my god, I love her. She's adorable.
Look at that enormous screen. It must have been put there deliberately, surely.
Yes, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from view. What could be behind it, I wonder?
I'm going to have a very quick look. Just a little peek.
Maybe let's not, Mrs. Sato. I think the maid is going to head us off with a cup of tea. It's a military uniform. That uniform looks fairly ancient, doesn't it?
It's clearly been well looked after, though.
That whole thing, but not much better than rags, really. Oh? Oh, that ceremonial come at my retirement bash, you know. But I'm not one for dwelling the past, me. Would have gladly thrown it out, but you know how it is. Anyway, it doesn't hurt to have the odd piece. Is he stirring his tea with his pipe? That's gross. That's gross. It doesn't hurt to have an odd piece of memorabilia lying around, does it? It's really hard to differentiate these British accents, but I'm giving it a fucking try.
Oh, I see.
Perhaps we should leave the past in the past. There't literally a cannon in your living room, my man. That's a full-size cannon. What's it doing in here?
Oh my, it's real. I thought it might be a replica.
That old thing. It's little more than a toy. Sorry?
The army was selling it off when I retired, so I decided to get a new home. I never know when the enemy might attack next. Jolly useful to have a cannon about the house.
Really? Isn't it overkill?
Be prepared, I always say. And never know what this twisted world is gonna throw at you next, boy.
Do you think there may be trouble brewing, Mr. Garrett?
Always is. Tech Townhound never fails to have a clean apron reserve. Drives them over the barrel, see? They dry very well on the cannon there, Joan tells me, which rather proves my point, I feel.
It's been reduced to a drying rack. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging its head in shame.
That looks like a Medal of Honor, and it's showcased on a very grand banner.
Yes, it's displayed with some pride, I would say. Although it bothers me that it's not straight.
What, that old thing?
Sorry?
I should be glad to see the back of it, but the general would turn his grave if I disposed of it. The wall's the best place for it. Keeps the banner thing out of my way.
So it's just been polished to shine by accident, I suppose?
There appears to be an inscription on the medal itself. Look. Let me see. It says, "For distinguished participation."
It's a participation trophy! Sounds like the kind of honors even I could be in line for.
Ha! One doesn't like to blow one's own trumpet, but I was given that for my time in the army. Can't measure an officer by the number of medals to his name, of course. Common knowledge in military circles.
I didn't click it right. Oh, there's a broken tea set over there.
Oh, look! What a wonderful collection of cakes lined up on that gleaming silver cake stand.
Lined up, it looks more like someone has half demolished them to me.
Afternoon tea is a time of indulgence, you know. It's quite the English way. It is Mr. Garrett's custom to take 2 cakes with his tea. That sounds delightful.
Oh, wait a minute, though. There are at least 10 cakes on this cake stand.
Well, naturally. And it would never do to waste the leftovers. So whatever Mr. Garrett doesn't eat, I say to myself, Joan, you shall have to tidy up.
How magnanimous of you. Okay, I guess. She eats the cakes. Look at this crockery on display here. It's rather unusual, isn't it?
Oh my, a genuine London dresser. Isn't it delightful? Although the shelves seem to be broken, and the crockery is, oh dear, it's in pieces.
It really is. The word cracked wouldn't do that chinaware justice.
Ah, I wonder. Perhaps the cannon was fired at it.
Yes, probably something like that, but let's not delve too deeply here. There's something on the floor here. Well, I guess I can't really... A candlestick?
This old candle holder looks a little out of place here, wouldn't you say?
Yes, you're right. It's clearly supposed to be gold, but it's almost completely black for some reason.
That old thing, yes, just a cheap piece of ironmongery. Gimcrack, really.
Oh.
Used it when I was studying, don't you know, for my commission. I know it's old, hardly worth hanging on to, really, but, well, still has its uses sometimes.
Of course.
Does everything in this room have to have some elaborate story behind it? That's what I was just thinking.
They're memories, Mr. Naruhodo, memories.
I noticed you have a pile of books here, Mr. Garradeb. Do you enjoy reading?
Experienced London winter, boy. The nights are long. No better way to pass the time than in front of the fire with a jolly good book.
Oh, there's a copy of Brandt's magazine here, I see. No doubt Mr. Garradeb enjoys the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, too.
The great detective has a great many followers, it would seem. Alright, I'll stop looking around the room now and, talk to them.
Good day to you, John Garrett. I'm at your service.
Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer.
Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back in the Battle of Maywan, don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, but had to withdraw from service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings.
So he's a retired soldier.
It's a hell of a job going up and down stairs now, I can tell you. Don't get out much, as you can imagine.
Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs.
You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo.
Bruh, same. I've actually been getting back into... it's been a while since... I used to run, like, half marathons. I literally used to run all the time, and then my back got all injured and my hip locked up. So I stopped for a while, but I'm starting to get back into it. And it's making me remember how much I love just, like, running on the elliptical and, like, listening to music and stuff. It's been nice. But also, I want to stop getting... I don't think... Even when I was running, I don't think I ever stopped getting winded at the top of stairs. There's just something about stairs that really just knocks the wind out of you.
Well, Mr. Garrett, I've no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal.
Oh, it's nothing. The medal's just a folderol, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I casually displayed it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joe, and let these good people see it properly? Joan, fetch it! Ah! Dash it all, woman, be careful!
Oh, dearie me, I do beg your pardon, sir.
You jolly net, took the skin off my hands!
I shall be more careful, sir.
So anyway, there you have it, living the quiet life now.
Yes, I see.
Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging downstairs, is that right?
Yes, we would be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us.
Only two, please, naturally. Especially if it helps to keep the peace here on Blatty. We forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you're aware. So this case is very much in the public eye, as it were.
Oh, is it?
I even had some famous detective poking around, you know. Sold house, would you believe?
Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea, all that detective business.
Oh, but you have a copy of Rand's magazine here, sir. Anywhere, the chap's investigating the foreigner's room as we speak.
So he's in Soseki-san's room.
It's a ballet nuisance is what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching its curtains now. I don't like all this fuss. It's jolly unsettling.
About Mr. Natsume then, Mr. Garrett, please do tell us.
Ah, yes, the Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week.
Oh, just 1 week? So he moved in very recently then?
I have two lodges most of the time. One on the ground floor and one just below us. The first floor became available a week ago, you see. They've been... Ah! Dash it all, Joan! Do be careful!
Oh, my goodness, I'm terribly sorry, sir. If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shitty sort from the moment I set eyes on him. Oh, why? I seem to have a most nervous disposition. Always shaking and looking over his shoulder.
I don't know why I'm suddenly slipping into some weird Scottish, Irish, British something.
The man had shade written across his sweatsuit brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joan, that man is trouble. Sooner or later is going to do something untoward. Not I'm really wrong about anything.
We won't be calling this maid as a witness, that's for sure.
Was there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all? Yes, oh yes, indeed there was.
And she's dying to tell us. Well, let's talk about the incident first. It seems that the incident took place at around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out the window at around that time?
It's a window.
Yes, we noticed that the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby?
5 o'clock is dinner time in the goddamn household, so I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joan?
No, sir. It would have been dusk outside already at that hour. And with the fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road.
Oh, I see.
Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then?
Such as...
Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated.
Well,
Yes? Was there something then?
well, it's nothing particularly significant, but around that sort of time then... Ah! For the love of God, Joan, watch what you're doing!
Oh, dearie me, what have I done? I'm awfully sorry, sir.
Do be more careful, woman.
Of course, sir. If I may, Mr. Narrow Hollow.
Oh, yes?
I have an exceedingly good memory. As far as I remember, nothing of any significance took place here at that hollow.
Let me try that again.
Nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all.
Oh, really? Mr. Garrett? The way you were talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been.
Oh, well, as I was saying, it was just a trifling matter, really, nothing of...
This maid is fucking...
Dash it all! What is the matter with you, woman?
Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened.
She's sus as hell.
Yes, quite. Nothing happened. We sat down to a quiet, uneventful meal. Joan.
That's right, Mr. Garrett.
This is sus as hell.
It sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident, but what?
I wish I knew. Had you noticed anything else at all about your lodger, Mr. Natsume?
Oh, my word, yes, the man was shadier than an orchard. Could you elaborate? Well, take the man's room, absolutely stuffed full of books it is. More than anyone could ever read. And he never so much as passes the time of day with another living soul. Haven't seen a visitor call. He just trots off to that old bookshop every single day and comes back at 5 to light the gas fire. And the funny little man is up long past the time everyone else in the house has gone to bed too.
Oh, I see.
The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed at around 9 each night. But I've never known that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning.
Ah. Well, he probably just has jet lag, right?
Could you clarify something, I wonder? What? Pray. How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine? I'm a suspicious maid. I just know shit. I'd understand that neither of the lodgers live on this floor of the house. Is that correct?
That's right, yes, the boat below us on the first floor on street level.
Then, how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times that they come back in the evening, for example, even the times they go to bed.
Because they're nosy motherfuckers.
Ah! Good grief, Joan, be more careful, woman.
Oh my goodness, sir, I'm terribly sorry, sir.
Something doesn't add up here. Could you tell us which floor Miss Natsume's room is on?
Certainly, just below us on the first floor.
And Mr. Sholmes is investigating there, even as we speak.
Yes, told me Nuts' name had asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key.
Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Sholmes' services?
That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we also had a look around? In Mr. Natsume's room, I mean.
Toss you I not. It's just down one flight of stairs.
Who knows if we'll find anything that could help us with the case, but we have to try. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we?
Yes, and while we're there, we can speak with Mr. Sholmes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more.
Perhaps. I don't really have anything to present these two, do I? I just have the map. I guess we'll move. Aw, kitty! We've got two kitties. What? Just look at this place. And smell it. It's so musty in here. I suppose it's the mountains of old books that are responsible for that. And the fact that there's no ventilation because the windows are bricked up.
I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life.
No, me neither.
It's so dark in here, too.
Oh, sorry. It's so dark in here, too. That was Ryunosuke, not...
Is that the window over there?
Well, it was the window, I think, yes, once upon a time. But for some reason, it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. So this is where Mr. Natsume lives.
By the way, I haven't spotted Mr. Sholmes anywhere, have you?
No, that's true, but according to what Mr. Garadeb told us, the great detective should be around here somewhere investigating. Well, let's examine, shall we? I like the little lucky Neko.
Oh, look! It's a beckoning cat from home!
It's a bit big and bulky, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsume didn't bring that Maneki Neko. Maneki Neko. All the... Wow. Pronounced that so wrong. All the way from Japan with him.
I hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you forgetting the enormous Daruma doll that you brought in your luggage?
Well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad. I wanted a lucky charm.
Well, I imagine Mr. Natsume wanted the same, and this cat is sure to beckon good luck to him.
It's not doing a very good job so far, is it?
You mustn't say such things.
I didn't say a word! Why are my eyes such a giveaway? I like the kitty. Oh, he's so cute! Oh, a little tortoise shell.
Wait, no, come back. Oh, my, what an adorable little cat. Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master is away.
I don't know about that. He disappeared into that pile of books as quick as a flash. It was a tricolor Nikkei, wasn't it? Do they even have that sort of cat here in Great Britain?
Perhaps Mr. Natsume brought the little creature with him from Japan.
That made me feel homesick now.
Already? We've only been in the country for 2 days.
Yeah, but you've been away on like the ship ride itself took like weeks. Look at all those books stacked up there. They almost reach the ceiling.
They're all works of English literature, and they all smell so musty.
With this volume of books to hand, you'd never be short of reading material, would you?
No, what a dreamy idea.
A bad dream, maybe, for me at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the books that's at the bottom of the pile now will ever be read again.
Ah, so reading it is an experience that comes but once in a lifetime, just as the tea ceremony teaches us.
I certainly didn't expect the conversation to turn down the path of tea ceremony philosophy.
That desk seems to be wedged into a crevice between the mountains of books on either side.
I suppose Mr. Natsume would sit here and read while stroking his cat, but surrounded on all sides by these towering old tomes, surely he dreamt of books every single night as well.
Yes, he must have done, mustn't he? Oh, what's this? It's a receipt from a secondhand bookshop. Your books.
Oh yes, Mr. Natsume's name is on it. Look, and the date of purchase. 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m. That's the day of the incident.
That's just a short while before he was embroiled in the terrible attack. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books.
Okay, cool. That's the clue. Let's take a gander over. Sholmes, hello, sir.
Look, Mr. Naruhodo.
Aha, there he is. Where did he appear from?
He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope he won't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, you two. Good day. Now, let's see. Where was it that we met?
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, we were together on the SS Burya.
Yes, of course, the Burya. And let me see. What happened on that voyage?
It was Kazuma Asogi. He died, tragically, but you were a great help to us.
Ah, yes, but of course. The case of Mr. Asogi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it?
Oh,
Well, you seem to remember something of it, at least.
what an honor to be remembered vaguely by the...
What an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Herlock Sholmes!
This is Mr...
Oh, no, my dear madam, hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain attic.
Miss Naruhodo.
Nope. And Mr. Susato.
Almost. Try the other way around, Mr. Sholmes.
I lose the first round. In truth, I'd hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street suite the day we arrived to London. But some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to do a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 30 minutes. So they apprehended Soseki-san in that short of amount of time. I'm afraid the pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvements a little. A little? It is a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls and can distend at any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they should elbow out with the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of an inimitable wisdom, you know, from an adventure entitled A Study in Scarlet. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately my associate pins them beautifully. He means Iris, I suppose.
Mr. Sholmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned.
Goodness, what an earnest expression! Miss, my dear madam, I should be only too pleased, and this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case.
Well, cool, because I'm going to ask you some questions. We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. It seems you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road.
Natsume. Yes, I believe it was the name rather along those lines.
Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little?
I'm sorry, Miss Susato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean.
What?
I can't believe he was looking Susato-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance.
I assure you I'm not merely feigning ignorance. It would appear as if the pair of you are under some misapprehension.
Oh? How?
I assure you I have no recollection of accusing your astute compatriot of the crime.
But that doesn't make sense. The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request.
Oh, sorry. The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request of me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene.
Ah, a man seen fleeing.
There were a number of books scattered on the pavement of the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there is a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question.
So you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit, then?
That I could not tell you. But it was aggravating my faculties, hence why I returned here.
However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books, I found myself quite lost in bibliophily. Bibliophily? Bibliophily. We're gonna go with that one. Do not be deceived into believing that I'm a man of leisure. No, no, no.
Oh dear.
Ah, tell me. Have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yes, Mr. Garadab, a retired military man.
It was the first time I've ever met a soldier from the great British institution that is the services.
And it was the first time I've ever met a maid from the great British institution that is... service. I didn't think it was that funny. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid.
Yes, I read as much in my Great Britain primer.
And so, conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein. Betoken their social standing? Sorry? Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class, those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family.
Goodness, how extraordinary.
As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. I had no idea. And it is for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Specifically in the retired army veteran, Mr. John Garadab. Oh? Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am as yet unable to ascertain. I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say. This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later.
Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one.
Ah, but sooner or later, as I said.
I don't believe that's the issue here.
About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. Window tax? What is that?
Surely not a tax on windows.
Precisely that.
Oh my goodness.
Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home, perhaps rapidly closed up windows. While the rich opened windows here and there and everywhere, in an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money.
How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light.
Indeed, disease was rife as a result. So some 40 years ago or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. It would appear so. I've done a little digging. And discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price.
Because the room is so awful, I should think.
Apparently, Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago. Yes, that's correct. Oh, sorry, that was probably Rinosuke. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. Oh? Still, that is of little relevance here, a matter not worthy of further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Well, I believe I've told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? You remembered that, did you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? I'm not sure. Not sure? On what grounds? Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday.
Really? Well, then I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized, and so promptly, too.
The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence?
Yes, trust.
Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he?
My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea!
Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate?
Ah, yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them.
Oh, I see.
Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room, and there are witnesses who swear to having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Ah, and one more thing.
Oh, what is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us.
I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I'm quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something.
Mr. Garadeb is... Mr. Sholmes said as much before, actually, didn't he?
Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case.
Mr. Naruhodo, as yet our investigation has uncovered nothing that could help us establish Mr. Natsume's innocence.
No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Garadeb's secret.
Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo.
A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. Alright, I think this is a good stopping point for the night. I'm gonna go ahead and save over and overwrite my save. And I think next time we will interrogate Mr. Garadeb and his maid, Joan, because they are definitely indeed hiding something. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you had a good time. It was a good, fun Friday stream. I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. If you haven't... Oh, Mid has come to say goodbye as well. If you haven't already, give me a follow on here. You'll get notified every single time I go live. And you'll get to see this little cutie pie every now and again when she decides to show her cute little face. Also, all my social medias are swiping down at the bottom. Go ahead and give me a follow on all those as well. Twitter especially, because that's where I post my stream schedule so you can see what I'm doing. Whee! And any polls and stuff that you can help me pick emotes and whatnot. So, yeah, go ahead and follow me on all that stuff. I'll see you guys next week. I'll be posting my schedule on Twitter, so seriously follow me. And all my VODs are on my YouTube as well, so check that out. Hope you guys have a good rest of your night. Remember to hydrate yourselves and get some rest because you deserve it. All right. Bye, everybody.